Hello everyone, welcome to the Spiritual Insight Show. I'm Reverend Tiffany White, Sage Woman. This week's Spiritual Insight Show, the topic will be talking about change. This seems to be the great time of year to talk about this, whether we look at it personally in our own personal space and we keep expanding out until it's outside of us, and then seeing that we always really, the world, the universe is in a constant flux of change. And this is just how energy is. It's not still. It's constantly moving, constantly changing, expanding, evolving, transforming. This week is very powerful, I feel, with a bunch of energies that's coming on, such as new moon energies. This Thursday, we have the Mercury will go into retrograde until October 9th. So from September 17th to October 9th, Mercury will be in retrograde, which really is a great time to go within, to work on our spirituality. Okay, you're going to have a very powerful time for that. So we shouldn't try to fight it to do things like new contracts, new cars, new houses, anything you have to sign a contract for. Also, no new appliances, electronics, anything of that nature, because Mercury rules communication. So there can be a communication breakdown, you may feel. And when that happens outside of you, this is the sign and hint for us, because this is the time to go within. So let's remember to do that. All right, let's remember to go within. And then in another week, we have fall. Yes, the fall equinox. And so, wow, the change of seasons. So we're in this beautiful change. We had a couple of days, beautiful fall-like days here in Connecticut, right on the edge of some really hot summer days. I do believe we hit a record high for this area just within the last couple of weeks. So it was very welcome the last couple of days. So it's nice now. We can keep windows open, turn the ACs off. It's time to, clean the filters, which you should anyway when you have the ACs running. I like to clean them every week. And I'm talking about the units, AC units in the window units. And this is what I personally do. And it's always good, even when we had systems, whether it's heating and cooling that had filters, we were really good with replacing those. And so you can always tell when, and I always like to change the air in the room anyway, but, and maybe it's just, you can tell when you tune into it. It's that frequency, like when you hear when the plants are thirsty, that kind of frequency. You just know. You don't have to explain it. Anyway, change. So we're in a constant state of change. We may feel that it's the same situation or experiences that repeat every day. You hear people say, same shit, new day. All right, but it's really not. It isn't. Each second, minute, moment in time, something arrives and then departs. We change our clothes, what we eat, what we do on a daily basis. Even while we're busy complaining, we have changed. If you think your life doesn't change, then maybe your thoughts are stuck. We're all guilty of this. Our thoughts are stuck. Our thoughts need to change. That is what hasn't changed. That is what makes us feel, oh, this is the same crap again. Is it? Or is it this, that you just haven't let it go and it's still just tossing over and over and over and over? Because everything else around you is going on, is moving on. So we have to just be in a perfect alignment with our energy and balanced. in order to recognize this and catch ourselves. And many of us, I feel, have been working very hard and are catching ourselves when we're doing that. The moment that we feel off balanced. Let me explain something to you about the balance. You can feel the very dark corners and crevices of your soul and the light at the same time. It's not this or that. I want you to practice that. You stand in a neutral position and you feel it, see it, sense it, and realize it's all part of the whole. All right? So, if you do find that there's a thought that gets stuck on a loop and a repeat, stay focused on that continuously with the absence of input from our feelings heart, and it becomes a block. I think I just misread that. Let me go back to that. I can't even read my own handwriting. Yes, staying focused on one thought continuously with the absence of input from our feelings or heart, our sacred heart center, that creates block. Like that continuous loop that repeats in our head. It's a block. But you know what? This block is an illusion that this is as good as it gets. Why would you do that? Why would you want that for yourself? Why would you wish that for yourself? Because that's what you're doing. Wish, manifest. Okay? So we have to really watch that. To quote the In Vogue song, free your mind and the rest will follow. I think it's more that the rest is waiting. We're just waiting for the mind to be freed. Hey, we're waiting for you. Yay! Glad you could join. It is in that freedom, that sweet surrender, that we open up, allowing our feelings to rush in, allowing ourselves to level out and to balance. And we have to level out. We have gotten so used to, I'm going to stay in my dark corner for days, for weeks, for months. Leave me alone. Then you don't understand when everyone else is going on, and you have too, but you don't see that. Everything around you is constantly changing, and you want to be stuck and you're happy with it. That's dangerous. That leads to major off balancing, and you do not want that to become permanent. So it's if I feel myself wanting to be upset, and I have a pity party, I am away from the public. I will not let myself be near the public. I will be away from people. I used to say go lock myself in the room when the sons lived here, when our sons lived here. But now with them out of the house, the dogs kind of know. They're like, she's in that mood. Let's leave her alone today. Not as much. And then my husband can always tell too, but I usually try to work on that and work on myself by the time he even gets home. And sometimes he doesn't even know. I am catching it now, and as many of you are, okay, as catching it, we're not letting it last, and you keep working on that, and it gets faster and faster and quicker, and it's like you can feel it as it first comes on and go, no, I don't need to do this. I can nurture you, but I don't need to support those activities. And nurturing ourselves is something that we need to do. All right? And we can do it from a balanced state. So I'm going to ask a question. What repeats in our history? You can answer out loud. You could write it down. There's some who have got back with me that you like to journal, or you like to write questions down during my show. So there's a question. What repeats in our history? And what's your first reaction or response to that? And many of you are going to probably be answered this, whether it's verbally or silently. You're going to have a different answer. Some of you may have same answers, but guess what? It's all probably correct. I'm sure they're all correct. What repeats in our history is quite simply separation. Separation. yes, separation is part of change. Because we don't like to change. Move from one place to another too much. Even though we're constantly doing it. Alright? So, our mind has been taught separation. The outside of us, we're shown separation. But inside, we're plugged in. We feel, we sense, we still know wholeness and balance. Here we know wholeness and balance. They've got to match the within and the without, the inside and the outside. Don't let this come rushing at you and suppress and rip. And they can't ever rip it away, but don't let it suppress and put blocks and illusions to forget who you truly are. Always be in that quest, in that search of, so to speak, of your true self. And let's talk about peace for a few moments. Peace. What do you think peace means? What does peace mean to you? Does it mean the absence of something and a presence of something else? You may be surprised when the guides explained to me what peace is. Who's ever thought to ask what is peace? We just thought we knew what the answer is. But the guides, I had this reflection, I'll share this with you. When I was watching a movie, the guides came in and peace. Peace means balance. Peace doesn't mean absence of war. Peace doesn't mean just in the light and positive, being positive and positivity. Peace, representing balance, means and includes chaos and creation at the same time. Chaos, which is war and what we consider a negative aspect, and death. And creation, which we consider, of course, birth and rebirth, and what we consider positive aspects. Constantly. With the birth of something, or with the death of something, there's a birth of something. It's simultaneous. It's all part of each other. And we need to stop trying to separate it and slice that into two halves. It's all part of the whole, and it is all very beautiful. There was just recently a celebration of life for, she was 27 years old, I do believe, one of the gals that played hockey with my husband and my son and all their hockey mates. And my husband and I were talking about it. It's like, she's old enough to be our daughter. And that's how, and how devastating that is for the family. She came from a huge, huge family. But the only girl from a huge family. Now you see why she played hockey. Her brothers got her into hockey. Anyway, they had a celebration of life ceremony for her. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful. We need ceremonies for closure. And I understand that. Absolutely we do. And I have had a lot of family members and loved ones cross over from ever since I was little, from, early on. I don't have any of my parents in physical earth form at this time. But they're still around me. I still feel them. And they're more powerful once they leave their physical form. We have forgotten about that power. And once we tap back into that and realize how beautiful and how much more powerful not only we are, but they are. All right. We are, believe it or not, we are in the vibrations of peace right now. We always have and always will continue to have access to higher vibrations. Distraction and illusions prevents us from seeing the access. Well, choose to see beyond distraction and illusions. That portal, that doorway, whatever symbolism it's represented, is an illusion. There isn't a door. There isn't a lock. It's just so easy. There's maybe some film from not paying attention to it. Just need to clean it off. Clean it off. Clean your windows. You can see better with clean windows, can't you? Absolutely. So what brought all this on? And I've gotten really good. I used to have conversations with my guides during movies, and it drove my sons and my husband crazy. They're like, would you please stop talking during the movie? Have this reflection afterwards. Okay. So I asked them to just wait and wait for the journaling times. And sure enough, the next morning, boom, 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 boom. So my husband and I had recently seen, as many of you, Avengers the Ultron movie. I was very profound by some of it, especially near the end, as it really got into it. There was alien beings. Alien beings. Okay. Now, and yes, there may seem like there was an AI body, but it was an alien soul, so to speak, and the alien essence, the alien energy. All right. So there's alien beings that were here, okay, in the movie on the Earth plane. And there was a conversation going on between two of them, and one of them was saying that you just really don't know the difference between destruction and birth, chaos and rebirth. Bingo. Why would they? We separate on this earth plane. We do. And yes, it may affect some other beings that are within our solar system because the pool's very strong, or those that are in the Goldylocks zone, the inhabitable area, the area that is habitable around the earth. Okay. Those that allow that separation type of energy. But the rest of the beings aren't like that. They see how destructive we're being. This is why they just don't drop in and say hi. We'd shoot first. Don't ask questions. Forget that. It's alien. It's foreign. We were threatened. Right. Anyway, so I thought that was very beautiful. Bingo, why would they? Because they're not separating. So, and think about the children. When they're looking at something, you ask them this or that, and that confuses them because you're separating. Sometimes people think kids are greedy. I want them both. What? That's greedy. Don't teach them that. Don't teach them greedy. You can monitor, the intention of the child, but watch the innocence in their way that they talk and they carry themselves and the way that they be. And the whole idea of separation is devastating to them. And pay attention to their make-believe world, or what you think, wow, they're great storytellers. Oh, they're really tapped in. And they're seeing things that you have pushed off as fairy tale and fantasy. All right. These alien beings could see and exist in the oneness of it all. We earth beings separate. Why does it have to be like this or that? I just explained that, yeah. Change can seem to be scary, and many people are uncomfortable with change. If you are, it's time to explore why, because we are at a really high time in life, in history, in the whole Earth project, where change is picking up. So, if you are uncomfortable with change, let's explore why. I'm going to ask some more questions. I'm going to pause for a moment, so if you want to write them down, or you want to do this right here, right now, that's fine, or you can do it later. Does the unknown scare you? Why? Do you have trust issues? Do you trust yourself? How do you feed the change process? How do you feed the change process? Do you fight it? Do you support it? How do you feed it? So go within and explore these questions. If you need to repeat, just pause and then go back and write them down. Make sure you have them all. Thank you. I'm gonna share that this is right on. I got the title for this before some things had really escalated in the last week with my own personal life. And I'm gonna share my personal experiences only because I think a lot of people may feel that some spiritual teachers or just those that share don't ever want to put off the airs better than anyone else or holier than thou. Oh, no way. We all still learn every day. But we're catching things, catching them so much faster. And that's what we want you to do, is to be able to catch, to be aware. Be aware of what's going on within you. We know what's going on outside of us. How about within us? Okay? So I had to pay attention to how I was feeling with my own personal experience. Many of you who have followed this show know that there has been a change. And I'm not going to just not discuss it and talk about it. So I used to be involved with True Psychics Network. Had been a member for over 4 years, but taking care of the website, the webmaster, the TV production, magazine editor, and also legalities, because there's a couple of times when I had to take care of some legal issues for us. And that was all been like the last 3.5 years when this has happened. So, the last actually I should have to say the beginning of the year, come January, I knew there was going to be some changes for me. I just didn't know what they were yet. I knew that this year was going to be a very powerful year. Very empowering, and that the guides kept reminding me, you've got to go with the flow, and what you think you know, you don't. And so, I don't also put a time frame on things. But it doesn't mean that just because I don't put a time frame on things, I'm not careless with it. And what do I mean by that is, like, when I started my own business, Goldylocks, Temple of Healing, LLC, I didn't LLC at first. And the guides, you need to LLC because this is going to be here for a while. And I thought, okay, because I'm going to go into business. I'm just going to see where this goes. I have no idea. And I'm not even going to do that to myself. Because when you close in, where are you going to be 5 years from now? I don't know, and I don't want to box myself in that way. Allow expansion to happen every day. I could say I like to see myself here, but then you get, hey, how about over here? And you're like, what? And that is what had happened. Come August time, I started because I journal every day, in my journals and in my conversations and communications with guides and angels, those for highest and greatest always. I started to start a production company. And I thought, really? Why? I just want to concentrate on my healing and reading business. This is all I want to do is the healings. Because reading should be healings too. I want to do that. My guides are used to me. I can literally hear them go, take a sigh. Really? I was like, okay, you're right. We've come this far. I'm not going to start messing it up now. So that's what I did. Okay. Started Goldylocks Productions. No idea now what else to do, but I put the page on my website. Yeah, I built it. Let's see what happens. It's the last, like I said, year. Just since January, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of things. Let me just say, attitudes, even amongst friends, can change. And I think this is the part that can hurt the worst is when it is someone you feel you were close to. You thought you were very close to somebody, and it's funny because it's the way that I've been feeling has been expressed by this other person verbally. I'm not a very air your dirty laundry out in public for the world to see. I like to take care of everything instead of out here and here. And I'm not saying anything bad against anyone. Never, never, never. You have to recognize when it's time to go. You're going to start to feel agitated if you are staying in one place too long and you need to move. The why of this agitation and this source of agitation is not important. Do you know that? We give too much focus and attention to the why of something outside of us. I'm happy because, yes, I'm listening to my guides, I'm moving forward, and you expect that everything is going to be what, well embraced? Oh yeah, no. And it takes a turn that you didn't expect, and it's okay. Wow. So and it's just, all right, stay on that, stay in the upper vibrations, just stay there, take deep breaths, you're going to get through everything, everything's going to be fine. And always, every day, ask for the right step. So, working with a lot of members of True Psychics Network, I did personally communicate with them. They know how much they mean to me. A lot of them were friends. A lot of them were students of Goldylocks Temple of Healing. They took a lot of my courses. So they became teachers. And anyone knows that when you take a course with me, once you join the Torch Club, that's for life. That's forever. I'm always here if you need anything. You have questions, I am here to help you. I am reachable and attainable. It's not, oh, take my course, now then get away. No. No, it's not how that works. All right? So, yes, I know that in the beginning stages, too, of change, emotions can be very raw. It can just be very high energy emotionally, and stay with that. Don't get stuck, but continue to ride out it's okay if you feel emotional, feel good for the first part of the day, and then you kind of feel and then you move on, and it's okay. Change is like that. We kind of get into it's interesting too. Reverend Tanya Terrell and I were talking recently about change. Many of us are going through the upper dimensions, we're going into the next dimension at a very fast rate than we ever used to before. So say it might have taken 20 years to go from one dimension to the next dimension. And everyone's on different dimensions. It's not everyone's on this one mass thing. There's majorities, and there's just, you can't do that. Everyone has their own soul's progress. Let them go. What we're finding now is that many of us are going 1 to 3 dimensions within 1 year's time now. It's just really picking up. And we're really jumping. Now, what happens when you first get into this new dimension is it feels like you lose your abilities. I think people say they're off. I've noticed several people, oh, I'm off. I can't do this. I can't do that. Give yourself time. It's never lasted more than a week for myself and from others that I've talked to. Give yourself that time off. Nothing. You haven't lost anything. Let me say it that way. All right. You have changed. You're just up in a higher vibration now. Your body's getting used to the frequency. Our listening, the whole tapping in. We have to ease into it. And it's very beautiful. And the easing is happening at a much faster rate, too. There used to be a time where someone's like, oh, I got this energy sickness from an attunement, and they were sick for weeks. But now we're jumping up these dimensions, which is just as powerful as an attunement, if not more. And they're not lasting very long. Okay, especially if we are busy, have a busy mission ahead of us. It's like, okay, now you're ready to go. You're good to go. But notice that, and that it's all right if we feel that, where are we, where are we? We're in the unknown again, you know? We got comfortable in this one place. Now we were taken out of our comfort zone, and that's what it feels like when we go in these upper vibrations and in a new dimension. Totally not our comfort zone. Hey, we're not in Kansas anymore. All right, so it's be gentle with ourselves. And the thing too then, be gentle with yourselves, and at the same time don't feed the fears. Because it's okay not to know what's going on right at that moment. Don't fill in the blank so darn fast. Because your mind wants to fill the blank in immediately. We have to know everything that's going on and know right now. It's the mind. The heart is patient and it's like, we'll get there. Just shh. Stop with that continuous loop. All right? And as far as like when you're in a job or in a situation and you give a notice, you know, so let's say 2 weeks notice. You give it 2 weeks notice. And you realize the next day, this is a bad idea giving a notice. I should just leave. Because attitudes change. People change. The whole perception now changes. And the more day 2, day 3, day 4, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. I understand a lot of times old school companies need that time to train someone. They're not training people anymore. They're doing more with less. Be kind to yourself. If you're empathic and very, very sensitive, sometimes a notice is not enough. And I have to tell you, you work though in like high IT field or with computers or high security or even my mother-in-law was recently laid off from the airlines. They told her the end of the workday, escorted her out. There is there is no week's notice, no nothing, you're done. And why? Because 2 airlines merged, I think, or one took one over. And the whole do more with less, whatever. She had no idea it was coming. She had no idea what was going to happen. That is devastating, isn't it? But when my in-laws came and we were sitting at the dinner table and they're telling us this, everyone was like, oh, my sons immediately look at me. And I'm like, I'm not going to get up and go, yay! Why? Because she was stuck and the universe just freed her. Finally, it was like, bam! Now, what are you going to do? I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I've done this for so long. Now you're out of your comfort zone, aren't you? Good. This is a great place to be. Because now, this is your chance to expand you. This is a chance to expand who you are within. Not without, not expectations of a job and who you are, what you should do, and go here and go there. None of that. None of that. It's beautiful. Even though change can hurt, and I understand that. There is that loss that we feel. That's the death part. Let's pay attention to the birth part. That's exciting. That is really exciting. But we find that we don't have the answers at that birth part. It's so new. I'm in a dark tunnel. Time to close the outside eyes. Stop looking for answers outside of you and let's go with it. All right? And you'll be able to deal with so many changes that's going on in the world today. And it's just going to pick up. So you know that as things change outside of you, what remains constant? Yes, I'm continuously changing because I am pure energy. But what is not changing or throwing me off is the balance. All right, once you become balanced, you can stay there. It takes practice. We have to get there. Stay there for several seconds. Stay there for a minute. How about 2 minutes? And then increase from minutes to half hours to hours to finally a day. I'm going to take a whole day where I am not going to let anyone knock me off alignment. I'm going to stay centered and balanced at that center point. Because see, we all hear about the Trinity and the power of the number 3, but we forget where that third aspect is. Here's one pole or aspect. Here's the other, which you're so used to. When you take away that middle pole, there is separation. But right in the middle is balance. Whether you want to call it I don't think it's neutral as much as it is containing oneness, just oneness. All right. So yes, it's neither this or this specifically. It's this for neutrality. Sure. All right. But it's the balance. Balance. I was reminded before I did the show, I saw this beautiful, I love statues, garden statues, and so I get this great catalog. And of course they're having their end of the season sale, and I'm like plotting, next year, and then I'd even put some in the house. So it's like they have this beautiful Justice, Lady Justice with her scales. What is she? She's blindfolded, and she has a sword by the hand. I have to tell you, a sword is greatly misrepresented. It's in spirituality, it's not a war of weapon. It's to cut through negativity. It's to cut through this dense atmosphere of earth. It's thick. Gravitational pull is very thick. It's to cut through that. All right? Trailblazers. Yeshua with his Ka body crossing over to help keep the path or the trail lit for us all so that we can see it and find it. Same type of thing. Let's cut through this. Let's see where the trail is, so to speak. All right, anyway, is she blind? If people say she's blind, Justice. She's not blind. It's stop looking outside, close your eyes, and go inside for the true balance and justice. So thank you so much for sitting in sacred space with me to watch this video. I've enjoyed each and every one of you and your energy. Thank you so much. Continue to email me with show topic ideas or any questions and sharing that you may have. I am very honored and blessed to be in each and every one of you's presence and energy field. So may the obstacles to your flight be few and the blessings along your journey be many. Namaste.